This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by Ocean City Department of Tourism.
Take a look at this beautiful view of Ocean City thanks to the Ocean City Fishing Pier. The nearly 110-year-old structure is 489 feet long and extends into the Atlantic Ocean. You'll recall the OC Pier took quite a beating in 2012 thanks to Superstorm Sandy. She took some 75 feet off the pier and into the ocean. But no matter what Mother Nature has sent its way, the pilings continue to stand the test of time.
Well, something else captured in all those memorable shoreline shots has been the Ferris wheel high above Jolly Rogers Amusement Park. Created by Charles Buddy Jenkins, this land originally started as the Arnold Palmer putting course and driving range in 1964. Over the next several years, Mr. Jenkins added 10 amusement rides, and the Jolly Rogers soon became a must-stop location for tourists. Fast forward to today, there are now 6 theme parks and a new 5-story tall kart coaster known as the Cyclone. This heart-pumping, super fast go-kart ride boasts over 1,500 feet of track on more than 22,000 square feet of lumber, 78 pilings, and 83,000 stainless steel bolts. And another family favorite, Trimper Rides and Amusements.
And Sean, did you know the Trimper family was one of the first to build a resort here in Ocean City thanks to the vision of Daniel and Margaret Trimper? They arrived in Ocean City in 1890, and in 1912, after building 2 hotels, they purchased this massive 50 feet in diameter carousel. And not only is this 103-year-old ride classified as one of the oldest still operating carousels in the nation, this beach favorite also offers unique riding characters.
It's a majorette carousel, which means it isn't just horses. We have lions, tigers, we have giraffes, an ostrich, cats, dogs, anything you can think of. We have all sorts of different animals on the merry-go-round.
And all of those animals need extra special care to stay as vibrant as they were originally more than 100 years ago. And one of those people making that happen is this lady, Maria Schlick of West Ocean City. Maria has been helping to preserve different attractions at Trimper since the 1980s. But she says one of her biggest assignments came when she was asked to fully restore these animals.
We stripped all the paint off of them. We primed them, painted them, and I like the old world look to a carousel, and that's where we chose rich, nice colors, you know, very bold colors, something that's also fun for kids.
Speaking of making things come to life and appearing true, take a look at these. These unique works of art are by Chincoteague's Catherine Kiss. Catherine says she uses repurposed material to make all of her fairies and mermaids so no 2 pieces are alike. And while she says she's been creating art for as long as she can remember, Catherine started making dolls after giving birth to her first child. You can find Catherine's whimsical art under tent too.
Okay, Sean, I have 2 questions for you.
All right.
Have you ever heard of tatting? All right, I got the answer to that one. Second question, when was the last time you sent someone a handwritten note just because?
You know, I can't remember.
Then you need to visit Chris Rush of Designer Notes. Chris is doing her part to revive 2 art forms that have lost ground in popularity, and her efforts will have you pulling out a pen and stamp in no time.
Take that one.
Chris Rush and her husband Alan are packing up hundreds of cards to take to Sunfest, a yearly tradition.
We still go to the good shows. We really think that Sunfest is an excellent show. It was an excellent show for me last year.
Chris is the artist behind Designer Notes, a combination of 2 very different art forms: tatting, which is a technique to make lace with a series of knots, and letter writing.
I've made a lot of linens. Actually did some tatted lace on my daughter's wedding gown, which was quite a project.
Chris says just finding someone to teach her tatting was difficult.
We have found that when you talk to people, they know their grandmother who did tatting. They knew an aunt who did tatting, but they didn't pass it down. I said, why do you think that is? Oh, well, I tried and it was way too hard to do. I just couldn't pick it up. And it is tricky.
Chris received a card from a friend that included a lot of little tatted flowers on it.
And I thought, gee, you know, nobody really wants to buy these linens that I'm making because they didn't want to take care of them. Maybe I'll try making some note cards.
Chris first used stencils to put an image on her card and then tatted some embellishments.
My first one was a little black cat, and those did seem to sell, so I just expanded on it over the years.
Chris says the stencils didn't allow her to add details to her picture, so she started drawing them freehand.
My son told me about how I could actually draw something and then put it onto the computer and print them.
And even though the cards are printed out from the computer, each gets Chris's personal touch. Inspiration for the designs comes from everything around her.
I've found some things in my grandmother's old designs that she had done years ago. Nature, a lot of birds. I love to draw birds, and it's a variety of things. A linen pillow, I might incorporate that design into a fall scene.
Chris says her dog designs are pretty popular, as well as florals and birds.
Depends on where you're going, you know, what kind of crowd you're talking about.
And much like tatting, Chris says letter writing has become a dying art. But with these cards, she hopes to change that.
We're so into the internet and sending email and texting, and it's really too bad. And people say to me, how can you have a business with this? And because it is a dying art, but there are people out there that really love to send note cards.
And to the people who tell Chris they don't send notes to people anymore, she has a reply that really makes them think.
Don't you love to receive a note card? And they say, oh yeah, it's so special when I get one. And I said, yeah, and your friends and family would love for you to send them one too. And because that means you're special. You know, it's a really special gift to give to another person.
Now, Chris says she doesn't do the craft show circuit as much as she used to, but her note cards can be found in shops across the country, including Nest in Berlin.
Wow, those cards are beautiful pieces of art that take some serious skill. Something else that takes some skill, this. Up next on Delmarva Life, we're taking a familiar form of stretching on land out to sea. I try my hand at stand-up paddleboard yoga.
Plus, we'll take you back to dry land and head out for more adventure on two wheels. Delmarva Life Ocean City Sunfest 2015 will be back in minutes.